Good evening, everyone. It's dark, but it's time. Tonight we're going to pick up where we left off 2 weeks ago in the world of Lone Wolf and the adventure of Greystar the Wizard, with the third book of the series, Beyond the Nine-Way Gate. Before we start, some channel news. First off, actually no news about book 7 of the Lone Wolf series yet, so we'll see if we get some news before the end of the year. And in other kind of news, a little bit of French before we start. Concernant les campagnes de jeux de rôle, la prochaine campagne a été décidée pour être dans l'univers de Dragonlance avec le système de D&D. Le groupe n'est pas encore 100% complété, mais il va y avoir un one-shot, probablement peut-être finalement qui va se terminer en two-shot à la fin du mois. Probablement le 20 décembre. Va être probablement également annoncé légèrement à l'avance. Puis sinon, il y a des fortes possibilités qu'il y ait un deuxième groupe qui soit formé au début de l'année prochaine. Que si vous êtes intéressé, n'hésitez pas à me contacter pour m'en faire part. Puis passer à travers le processus de sélection qui a été établi. Votre nom va être mis sur une liste éventuellement pour faire partie du deuxième groupe qui va être une campagne complètement différente de Dragonlance, peut-être même autre chose que Donjon Dragon, ça restera à voir. Donc pour ce soir, on va continuer avec l'univers de World of Lone Wolf. So here we go. Let's start with the story so far. You are a Greystar, trained in the ancient lore of a Chianti wizard. For 16 years, you have dwelt in safety on the Isle of Lorne, the hidden realm of the magical Chianti race, until Akaria, High Wizard of the Chianti, decides to send you upon a dangerous quest to save your own people, the race of man, from the tyrannical Witch King of Shadaki, Shazarak. Held by their ancient vow to the goddess Ishir, the Chianti are unable to leave their island, either to come to the direct aid of man, or to retrieve the Moonstone, which possesses the combined forces of all Chianti powers and lies hidden on another plane. As a human, no vow prohibits you from leaving the island, and you have been sent to recover the Moonstone and commanded to use its power to defeat the Witch King. The Moonstone is hidden on the Dacian plane, which can be entered only by finding one of its portals. Your quest begins with the search for the Shadow Gate, a doorway to the Dacian that never remains in one place for longer than a day and is invisible to the human eye. To help you find the Shadow Gate, you first seek the lost tribe of Lara, a race of magical but primitive creatures called the Kundi, who possess the gift of astral vision, enabling them to see the gateways to other worlds and dimensions. On first arriving at the port of Sun, the major trading port of the Shadakin Empire, you are befriended by Shan Li, a merchant who serves as your guide through these strange and foreign lands. A short while after, you are captured and imprisoned in the House of Correction, the prison of Sun, and citadel of Mother Magri, a witch in the service of Shazarak. Tanith, a young girl learning the ways of witchcraft, comes to your rescue. She helps you escape from the dungeons of Mother Magri, and later sacrifices herself, calling the shadow demon, the Klasia, against her to save you from its attack. After many more adventures, you come, at last, to the Azanam, the treetop home of the Kundi. They give you Urik the Wise, an old Kundi shaman, to guide you to the Shadow Gate. The two of you cross the dangerous lands of the Shadakin Empire, pursuing Urik's vision, which leads you, finally, to the forbidden city of Gyanima, in the mountains of Morn. Beyond is Desolation Valley, and there you find the Shadow Gate. However, it is guarded by one of Shazarak's many slaves, a demon Klasia. In fact, the very Klasia that captured Tanith, who stands in the gateway, eternal prisoner of Shazarak, unless you can free her. Finally, you discover a way of releasing the Klasia and opening the gate. Bidding farewell to Urik, you prepare to enter the gate. For the third adventure in the series, they ask us to redo all of our stats, combat skills, willpower, and endurance, which is kind of nonsensical. So far in all World of Lone Wolf and Lone Wolf series, we carry over our stats from the previous books, as well as our equipment. But that book seems to forget all of that. Project A on staff suggests that we don't do that and simply carry over our stuff and our stats from the previous books. So that's what I will be doing there. Combat skill 10 from the previous 2 entries. I've re-rolled the willpower though, with the added bonus of 30 instead of 20, because we've completed the 2 previous books. So that's a total of 33 for the new roll, 3 plus 30, and 2 from the magical talisman that we took as a gift of departure on the first adventure at the very beginning. And we have 27 endurance points. For the equipment as well, they ask us to take new equipment, which is nonsensical. They ask us also to take new magical powers, up to 6 if at least one of the previous books has been completed. So I've kept all the lesser magics that we had before, which means psychomancy, sorcery, enchantment, elementalism, evocation, and alchemy, as well as the herb pouch for alchemy, containing our last as the wood leaf from the tree that we got in the last adventure, and our current special items: the map, magical talisman, silver charm, Theramus seeds, mind gem, a sheet. Sure, on to sheet our sword, I guess. Black rod. I think we lost the black rod at the end of last book, actually. That remains to be seen. And a gold tooth, as well as the, it's not the herb pouch, but the backpack containing everything that we took with us in the last book. Containing as well the Shazarak's book. Still 2 meals, not 3 meals. Been removed on the backpack, but not on the meals. And 20 nobles. The wizard staff and the broadsword, as usual. So with a lot more willpower than last time, let's hope it will be your time. I'm following the guidelines from Project A on staff regarding the willpower here, instead of carrying over my minus 13 from last adventure. So that was everything that was required to change or carry over for this new adventure. Seems that we have the same map as before. Nothing has changed in regards to that. And we're still technically inside the Forbidden City in front of the Shadow Gate as of now. Alright, so before we begin with section 1, a little bit of sage advice. We're about to begin a quest of utmost importance and terrible danger. Beware, for you enter a world quite different from the one you leave behind. Here, even the natural laws are strange, and you will need all your wits and cunning to survive in this alien world. You will find items that might be of assistance. Some special items will help you on your quest. Others may be of no use at all. You must decide what to keep. Be cautious in your use of willpower points, as your willpower is the energy source of your magical powers and your wizard staff. A willpower score of 0 or below will leave you weak and vulnerable to attack, unable to offer effective resistance. Follow the path of wisdom, Wizard Grey Star. The way of fools is the road to destruction. Section 1, Beyond the Nightmare Gate. Tanith takes you by the hand, and you step forward into a tunnel of swirling mist. As the outline of the shadow gate fades behind you, you gaze at your new surroundings. Horrified, you perceive strange shapes and pale faces riding within the tunnel wall. The faces stare at you vacantly, mouthing indistinguishable words, and you walk along the tunnel to a barrage of murmuring voices, muffled cries, moaning, and sobbing. Tanith looks at you but says nothing, the terror in her eyes mirroring your own. Such a place could drive a man insane, you say quietly. The two of you walk faster into the unknown, your hearts pounding with anticipation. Finally, the tunnel opens onto a vast plain of white clouds suspended beneath a sunless sky. Stepping onto this twilight plain, you notice that the light of the sky casts no shadow and disappears into absolute blackness above your head. Looking down, you can see no solid ground beneath the cloud, which somehow supports you. Like the shadow gate before, the tunnel of mist fades away and you find yourself staring out across the bleak silence of the Daziarn. Scanning the distant horizon, you sight the outline of a building. And it tugs your arm. Look, she says, pointing away to the left. You follow the direction of her outstretched arm to see the hunched figure of a man, gliding slowly across the plain. First two options of the night can head towards the distant building, or simply question the man. I guess it will be a good idea to start asking questions now. We might not have the opportunity later on, actually. You head across the cloud plain towards the hunched figure. The man turns and looks at you, apparently unsurprised by your sudden appearance. He's dressed in grey, tattered rags, and with a start, you see that the flesh of his hands and face is almost transparent, revealing the veins, bones, and tissue that lie beneath his skin. No peace, no peace, he mutters to himself. So many interruptions. The passage of strangers, asking directions, and breaking the silence. Gazes at you with a sad but steady stare. I am Drir, wanderer between worlds, he says, as if reciting a litany. Sailor upon pointless seas, traveler of timeless lands, born of a world grown old and tired. You are in the Neverness, my children, the unformed and unclaimed void of the Daziarn, where no one yet resides. What of yonder building? You ask. The Crystal Tower, home of the academicians, scientists and scholars from another plane. They are mad, my friend. Do not waste your time with them. Instead, follow me and find peace in the calm of wandering. Shed all purpose and responsibility. Come, follow. I seek the salvation of silence, the tranquility of endlessness. Beckons insistently and, with a glazed expression, Tanith steps forward. Persuasive, inviting, and increasingly irresistible, Drir's hypnotic voice pulls at your mind. We can either follow Drir, which is kind of suspicious and seems to be trying to charm us, or we can simply turn away. I'm not sure that Tanith will turn away though. We're full willpower. I doubt it will be that much dangerous. But it seems like a bad plan. So we should simply turn away. Taking Tanith by the arm, you make to move away. Drir is working a subtle magic, an enchantment that is hard to resist, and Tanith has already succumbed to his power. 3 options. Attack Drir with the wizard staff. Use the magical power of sorcery that can shield us, or simply resist Drir's call without the aid of magic. I guess we can try to resist without magic, and we see if we need magic later on. Will be the safer bet without wasting any kind of willpower. And it takes a step towards Dreer, her mind bewitched by his enchantment. You resist the power of his call, using the strength of your will, but you expend 2 willpower. And it's starting the dwindling down of willpower. You expend 2 willpower points before Dreer's spell is completely banished from your mind. With an anguished cry, Dreer suddenly vanishes and Tanith regains her senses with a start. I was almost his to command, she comments, breathless and frightened. Come, you reply, to the crystal tower. We are sure to learn something of the moonstone there. Hastily, you walk across the plain of clouds, crossing the Neverness and gaining on the crystal tower, which gleams faintly with a strange light. The tower is built from great shards of black crystal, and its design is entirely alien to your eyes. The crystal tower looms larger as you draw nearer, its buttresses, balustrades, and cornices jutting at impossible angles. Some of the tower's ornamentation seems to disappear completely when looked at from certain directions, as if parts of the tower do not belong to this dimension at all. You also notice that, with growing frequency, the cloud plane is perforated with black holes of varying sizes. 2 options: investigate one of the hole, or simply press on without any delay. We'll investigate. See, maybe it's a secret path. You walk over to one of the black holes situated close by. Peering, you can see only an absolute, impenetrable blackness. Perhaps these 2 are gateways, suggests Tanith. 4 options. You can put your hand into the hole, enter the hole, continue towards the crystal tower, or use the magical power of prophecy that we don't have, so no information. That means 3 options: end the whole body, or ignore and continue to the tower. Putting our hand inside the hole might be kind of a safer way. You kneel down and reach, tentatively at first, with your hand into the strange black gap in the clouds. Your hand totally disappears and you hastily withdraw it. You are unarmed. It is almost as if your hand had left this realm. 4 options. Enter the black hole. Now that we know that you don't die. Explore any of the other gaps in the clouds around. Continue to the crystal tower, or use the power of prophecy that we don't have. So 3 other options. Can check the other gaps, I guess. They're different. Both you and Tanith make your way to another of the strange gaps in the cloud plane, only to discover that the many holes in the plane are alike, differing only in size. So can enter the hole or continue to the crystal tower. Not sure if I want to leave the realm though. Not really our goal here. Might be wiser to continue to the crystal tower, which should house academicians that are bad guys, but the bad guys said they are bad guys, so they should be good guys. Cautiously, you approach the crystal tower. You can see no door, but a little above head 8, there is a metal plate. Inscribed upon the plate is some writing, but the letters are unfamiliar. Can you read it? asked Tanith. No, you reply. Yet as you speak, the lettering is slowly transforming, and soon you find that you can read the inscription. From south of here to west and north, then east and south once more. A circle's motion rings the charm that finds the vanishing door. You ponder the strange words and try to unravel their meaning. A riddle? Queries Tanith. So, 4 options. One of them is the magical power of prophecy that we don't have, so 3 options actually. Search for a door on the left side of the tower, or for a door on the right side of the tower, or use the magical power of psychomancy. But I'm not sure that it's useful here. Oh yeah, you can touch objects to deduce facts. So that will help us to take the correct option, but we can simply solve the riddle instead. From south of here to west and north. So, from the south of here to the west and north, that means to the west of here actually. Then east and south once more, which means going south. Circle's motion rings the charm that finds the vanishing door. Southwest, north, east, south, which is actually simply south. But I don't really know if south is on the left or the right, which is confusing using left and right for directions and using north, south, east, west for other directions. I don't remember if in the previous sections they were saying if we're going north or somewhere else. Simply say to cross the Never Nest. They never say going north or... should I get water, tunnel, etc., etc. Like the shot I gave before, the tunnel fades. Look, there's a man on the left. It simply says on the distant horizon, so there's no south, north, west, east, etc. I think we're forced to use psychomancy to know where to go. You approach the wall of the tower and lay your hands upon its smooth surface. You concentrate and eventually a verse appears in your mind. There is no door. You must climb the tower or smite the wall with a wizard's power. Makes sense since it wasn't really going anywhere. So we can try to climb the tower with our meager physical abilities. Search a door on the right side, even if there's no door. Search a door on the left side, even if there's no door. Examine the crystal wall immediately below the metal plate that bears the inscription. Attack the crystal wall with our staff. I think we should start. Examine the wall before blowing up the wall. Examine the section of wall just below the metal plate, but discover nothing. There is no sign of a concealed door, hinge, or seam. So we can climb the tower, attack the crystal wall, or examine one of the mini black holes, but we did that already before. So I guess it's safer for us to attack the wall with our staff. Summoning the might of your wizard staff, you hurl its power at the sheer crystal surface of the tower wall. An arc of magical fire hurtles towards the wall, but is deflected. The wall remains unharmed. You have expended 1 willpower point in your futile assault. Can use another 2 willpower points in a more concentrated attack, or climb the tower. I guess we don't have any other choice than to climb the tower. Feeling a little apprehensive, you attempt to gauge the height of the tower. It stands at least 30 meters tall. The climb will be arduous and dangerous. I'm going to try to climb it, you say to Tanith. Do you think you can make it? She shakes her head doubtfully. Do we have a rope? We do have a rope. It's the one that we used to lower down inside the little space with the shadow gate at the end of the previous book. So it's time to die at the end of a rope again, I guess. You fasten one end of the rope around your waist and the other end. Right, sorry about that. Fasten one end of the rope around your waist and hand the other hand to Tanith. When she has secured her end of the rope, you hand her your wizard staff and backpack, since you will need as little encumbrance as possible while you attempt the difficult climb ahead. When I reach a ledge, you say to Tanith, I'll try to hold you up. She nods, a look of concern etched into her pretty face. Be careful, Grey Star. Taking a deep breath, you begin the ascent. Select a number from the random number table. But if you possess the silver charm of Janana the Wise, you add 1 to this total. And if you possess the magic talisman of the Shanty, add a further 1 to this total. So +2 in our case, because we have both of these items. Six plus 2, 8. If your total is 6 or greater. The tower wall is smooth and sheer and the climb extremely difficult. Your progress is further impeded by the illusory nature of the tower, crevices and projections that make up the strange designs that ornament the tower sometimes disappear from view just when you reach for a handhold. Eventually, you complete the climb and find yourself crouched upon a narrow ledge, halfway up the tower. Now you must attempt to hold up Tanith, still standing below. Pick up a random number from the random number table. If you have the silver charm, add 1, and the magic talisman, add 1 again. 0. +2, which means 2. And if your total is lower than 5. And we're dead. Simple as that. Call down to Tanith, who nods that she is ready. Your muscles are tired from the exertions of your climb. and, panting heavily, you begin to pull on the rope. Tanith is already overburdened by the added weight of your backpack, and her climb up the tower is made more difficult by the swinging of your wizard staff. Suddenly, she gives a terrible scream and falls away from the tower. Her abrupt departure from the rope jerks you from the ledge, and you plummet to the ground after her. Neither of you survives the fall. Your quest has failed, and your adventure is over. Well, I didn't speak about the homebrew rules at the beginning of today's stream, but as usual, if we take a choice and we die, we'll go back to the previous choice, take another one. If we die in combat, we're going to take the flee option if there's one. If there's none, then we're going to take a previous path, take another choice. If we're not able to do anything else, we're going to simply win the fight as if nothing happened, so as to not start over and over again and play this book tomorrow morning. Which means right now, with our death due to a random number table, we're going to pick the other number just like if we rolled correctly. Shout down to Tanith and she prepares to climb. Taking a deep breath, you hold on the rope, dragging Tanith towards you. She does her best to scramble up the tower, but the weight of your backpack and the encumbrance of your wizard staff make climbing very difficult for her. Soon she's on the ledge beside you. Another 50 feet remain to be climbed, and you must repeat the process to reach the top of the tower. That's totally ridiculous. Pick a random number from the random number table. Add one for the charm and one for the talisman. Honestly, it's really stupid now. Eight plus 2, 10, so it's 6 or more. Okay, there's not another random number there. You begin the arduous climb once again. There are many intricate decorations carved on the crystal wall of the tower that make your climb harder, but your skill is great and your luck good. And with a sight, your luck good, yeah, right. With a sigh of relief, you eventually reach the top. Pausing for only a moment to catch your breath and rest your aching limbs, you then begin to hold on the rope as Tanith scrambles towards you, and she's soon at your side. You turn to survey your surroundings. You're standing on the battlements of the Crystal Tower. You see a skylight, and with Tanith following, you enter a dark room. Two cold black eyes watch your every move as cautiously you advance into the room. A slight sound from above causes you to glance at the ceiling, where a hideous leathery winged creature is preparing to attack. There is no time to evade. You must fight this creature to the death. A demoniac combat skill 21, which means a minus 11 combat ratio. And there's also endurance points for 28. So another creature stronger than us. So we're going to use a D10 instead of a random number table. We do usually combat. With a minus 11 combat ratio, we need to roll 9 or greater for it to be a good outcome. I guess that we should use... I think 7 willpower would be a good guess here. So 3, which means absolutely no damage to the creature against 8. . That's 7 willpower wasted. We need to roll over 4 for the willpower to be useful. Should still invest 7 there. 2, another we're dead. Insta-killed. Ridiculous. Can't really go back, since all the path during the climb leads to death. The other option is not using a rope. It's kind of stupid anyway. For that, we can try to use another 2 willpower points to attack the wall. But then it says that it's hopeless and we need to try to climb the tower anyway, so we have absolutely no other choice than climbing that shit tower and facing the demoniac. So we don't have any other choice than simply winning the fight, or retry the fight again and not roll an instant death die. Okay, so try again this fight. 9, quite better. So it's the contrary, the enemy is dead. 7 willpower by 5 mean 35 damages. Against 3 only. So wild. Okay, but it does the job. Splendid, splendid, says a cheerful voice. You spin round to see a little fat man, dressed head to toe in a black gown, claps his pudgy hands together, and smiles happily. Where are you? You ask, still breathless. I am Spittlethrift, scholar, professor, and master of the Crystal Tower. Yes, yes, a tower of learning, a veritable pillar of wisdom and knowledge. Ha ha, indeed! He takes a pair of wire-frame spectacles and places them on the end of his smudge of a nose. You are not alone, I see. Squints at Tanith. Most pleasing, enchanting. Yes, yes, well done. You have passed the test. You will suffice. He turns towards the door and flutters his hands in an agitated manner. Come now, you must meet the rest of us. Oh yes, delightful, engaging, so wonderfully entertaining. The excitable little man leaves the room, still chuckling to himself, and you follow close behind. Soon he ushers you into a dim room, which is dusty and full of cobwebs. The air is stale and thick with tobacco smoke, and seated opposite in a large armchair is a thin, straggling man, roughly Spittlethrift's age, with bulging, shadowy eyes. Reclining in various positions around the room are several others, all approximately Spittlethrift's age, and all similarly dressed. Gentlemen, gentlemen, we have guests, brave adventurers who have solved the complications of our dark abode. May I introduce? Cast a questioning glance in your direction, and hesitantly you say, the wizard, Grey Star, and the lady, Tanith. Yes, yes, Grey Star and Tanith, Spittlethrift repeats unnecessarily. He turns to face you. And we are the academicians. Welcome. He bows politely, as do the remaining scholars in the dingy room. After shaking hands with more than 20 academicians, all with very curious names, you are led from the room to Spittlethrift's study. There he explains to you the cryptic nature of the Crystal Tower and the Academician's purpose on the Dacian Plain. "We're scholars, my dear boy," says Spittletrift, "inventors, scientists, inquisitors of the unknown. Here on the Dacian Plain we have been able to turn our dreams, our ideas, our very thoughts into reality. It is the nature of this place. Time, space, the fundamental laws that govern existence in the material world, all can be adjusted, altered, ignored even. That is why we choose to live here. Others have changed their world within the Dacian to suit their purpose. The demons and devils of good and evil reside here, creating their surroundings as best it suits them. Their gods and their ilk, and stranger forces beyond all imagining. Their thoughts, hopes, fears, and intentions weave the fabric of the realms. We do not seek to dominate or master the realm we inhabit. We live only within our tower. The neverness, the unformed cloud that surrounds us, is the fabric of the Dacian. Unclaimed and untainted, it is what we use for our experiments." "You mean the black holes that surround the tower?" you inquire. "Yes, yes," Spittletrift replies. "But why is the tower so dangerous?" "Ah," says Spittletrift, "let me assure you that is not for simple amusement, nor is it due to a malicious dislike for visitors that our tower has been built to test the cunning, the wits, the wiles, and the bravery of those who dare to enter." "And those who fail?" asked Tanith scornfully. "What happens to them?" The little man clears his throat uncomfortably, dismissing Tanith's question with a wave of his hand. "No matter of importance, you have succeeded, you have triumphed, you have proved yourselves capable of fulfilling a great quest." "I am already upon a quest. You say, I have no time for another." "That is what you think, boy," says Spittletrift. "But you've yet to understand you are in the Neverness. The Neverness leads nowhere. Borders on nowhere is nowhere. Without our help you will never leave it. Embark upon our quest and we will grant you the means to travel freely about the Dacian. Refuse and you will remain here, perhaps forever." "You threaten me?" you say menacingly, rising to your feet. "No, no," splutters the scholar hastily. "I merely state the facts. The Neverness is the wilder land between the realms of the Dacian, but it does not connect the realms as the mountains, seas, and roads in your world do. We, however, have found a way to travel the realms and can grant you the means to do so if you will perform a simple task for us." Say nothing, and Spittletrift goes on. "There is a place, a city of glass, called the Singing City, inhabited by a race called the Elesin. We wish you to journey to the Singing City and steal the Trenogem from them. It is a stone said to emit music and control the emotions of all who hear its melody. The Elesin have put it to evil use. We merely wish to explore its powers. You will be helping the enslaved and furthering our search for knowledge. Please, will you help us, Grey Star?" So, three options. One of them is using the power of prophecy that we don't have. So that means two options. Accept or not. Simple as that. Sure, why not? I'm sure we have no other choice anyway than to accept here, so. If Spittletrift speaks the truth in saying that you cannot leave the Neverness without the aid of the Academicians, then you have little choice. Tanith flashes you a look that says, "I do not trust him," but you can only shrug a reply. You agree to steal the Trenogem from the Ellison of the Singing City. "Good, good, marvelous in fact," says Spittletrift joyously. "Come with me to the laboratory." You're led to a high cylinder chamber lit by a curious pulsing light. The room is filled with strange ornate machines of gleaming metal. Lights flicker and you hear a throbbing hum and a continual metallic mechanical ring. Several academicians stand the machines, pushing buttons and pulling levers, though to what purpose you cannot guess. Gristar, Tanith, allow me to introduce you to Krabkey, one of our greatest and most ingenious inventors. You recognize the shabby man who turns to greet you. He was the man who sat in the armchair when you first entered the chamber of the academicians. In the strange lurid glow of the laboratory, his shadowed, bulging eyes make him appear even more sinister than before. We meet again, say uncomfortably. Krabkey stares at you without speaking. Spittlethrift breaks the silence. Mr. Krabkey is the inventor of the machine that will enable you to journey to the realm of the Singing City. Aren't you, Krabkey, old chap? Krabkey continues to stare at you insolently. With a slow blink of his huge eyes, he makes an unintelligible sound in the back of his throat and nods. Yes, yes, says Spittlethrift half to himself. Come now, young wizard and pretty Mistress Tanith, come see this wonderful creation. Mounted on a wall, a small dais, in the center of the laboratory is a most unusual machine. This, says Spittlethrift proudly, is the Etatron, the flying machine that will carry young Greystar through the realms of the Dazern and to the Singing City to fetch our prize. Greystar? Says Tanith suddenly, and what of me? Spittlethrift falters and emits an embarrassed cough. Ah, yeah, well... Yes, what of Tanith? You demand angrily. The girl stays here. Oh, it was Krabkey. I didn't know the guy could talk. The girl stays here, says Krabkey, speaking for the first time in a harsh, rasping voice. To make sure you keep your part of the bargain and do not fail to return. She will be perfectly safe, I assure you, says Spittlethrift apologetically. But surely you understand our position. When is to stop you flying away and never returning? If I refuse, you snap at Spittlethrift. We will not allow you to use the Etatron or show you how to fly it, retorts Spittlethrift. You will be doomed to remain within the Neverness for all eternity. You will, on the other hand, Spittlethrift interjects hastily, receive the Etatron as a gift from us when you return. With the Treno Gem, Krabkey interrupts once more, ignoring a glare of warning from Spittlethrift, who has now begun to sweat profusely. And we will return Mistress Tanith to you, of course, he finishes. Tanith clenches her fist and glares furiously at the two little men. Both step back a little from her fiery gaze. Know this, little man, she hisses, prodding Spittlethrift in the chest with one long nail finger. I am not without power. If you seek to deceive us, I'll crush you like the toad that you are. I am a Shadakin witch, not a mere girl to be ordered or bartered like a piece of spear luggage. Yes, yes, of course, says Spittlethrift, wiping his brow with the back of his shaking hand. I understand. You smile quietly to yourself. Tanith's angry bluff has shaken both Spittlethrift and Krabkey. Though Tanith does possess many uncanny powers taught to her while in the service of Mother Magrie, a powerful witch in the service of the Shadakan Empire, her skills lie chiefly in her mastery of animals and nature, and in a bravery that surpasses many warriors of greater stature. Tanith turns to you, the fire dying in her wild green eyes. Accept their offer, Greystar, she says. I do not fear this overfed worm, or that slinking weasel. You sense that Tanith is far more afraid than she admits, but the success of the quest is as important to her as it is to you, and without the Etatron, it is unlikely that you will succeed. Very well, say. Show me how the machine works. What must I do? Suddenly, Krabkey shows you the machine. Spittletriff, pale and perspiring, remains silent, his chubby hands fluttering nervously at his side. The Etatron is quite unlike anything you've seen before. It has a rail platform and is shaped like a saucer, except that its stern is pointed like a lizard's tail. It bears a large glass dome in its center. Passing through the top of the dome is a single black shaft, like the mast of a sailing ship. The single sail resembles a giant bat's wings, and is made of a strange material that shimmers like water and looks like metal, but is like fabric to the touch. A closer inspection of the glass dome reveals that it contains a swirling gray-white mist. It is the raw stuff of the Dazern, unformed power for the craft, explains Krabkey. Without it, the craft will fall from the sky. To steer, continues, you must operate this lever. Pull to climb, push to dive, left and right as normal. To draw more power from the glass dome, you must press this metal bar at your feet. Slow down, release it. By no pressure, the craft will remain where it is. Push the lever to the left or right without power. The craft will spin on its axis. Beware, these controls are very sensitive. You need apply very little pressure to make the craft change its course. When Krabkey is satisfied that you understand the controls, he introduces you to another academician, Slypate, who hands you a shining sphere of red and yellow metal. This is the Gyronome. There is no north, east, west, or south in the plane of the Daziarn, nor is there time as you perceive it, says Slypate. The only way of finding the singing city is with the aid of this device. When you draw it out, it will limit a sound if you are heading for a singing city. The louder the note, the surer your course. Return to the Crystal Tower. The Gyronome must be absolutely silent. It is very accurate. I invented it myself, he says with pride. You take the special item and place it in your pocket. Now have a Gyronome. Soon you are ready to leave. The academicians offer you the choice of the following items to aid you in your quest. Remember that you carry only 2 weapons and maximum of 8 items in your backpack. So the options are a short sword, a length of strong rope, a potion of healing, a new backpack, and a spear. So we don't need the short sword, the backpack, the spear, and the rope. Well, maybe we can change our coil of rope for a strong rope. Sounds a bit better. And we certainly can use the potion of healing. It's a plus 4 endurance points. And with that we're full. As you climb into the Etatron, the massive double windows of the laboratory are drawn open. The restraining ropes are untied and the glass dome of the flying machine glows with a ghostly light. You coax the Etatron forwards and you glide gently through the open windows and out of the Crystal Tower. You look out across the bleak, featureless expanse of the Neverness, with its strange sunless sky and vast plain of unending cloud. Press lightly on the footbar, and the machine gathers speed. You take out the Gyronome. It is silent at first, and as your machine speeds away from the Crystal Tower, it begins to emit a tone. You move the instrument around in the air and find to your surprise that its tone becomes louder when you point it towards your feet. You can lower the altitude or use prophecy that we don't have, or psychomancy, and use it on the Geronome. I think we should simply lower the altitude. The guide, Slipe 8, that guy explained to us how it works, so. You push the steering lever forward, but due to your inexperience, you push too hard and suddenly the flying machine lurches into a dive. Your stomach knots with fear as you plummet towards the ground with increasing speed. Seriously, the guy told us to be gentle on the controls. The shrill tone of the Geronome becomes a shrieking in your ears. So, five bad options there. You can pull back the steering lever and increase the pressure on the foot bar, driving more power. Pull back the steering lever and decrease the pressure on the foot bar using less power. Pull to the left, pull to the right, or continue heading in the direction indicated by the Geronome. So keep not too far away the controls of that thing. So that's the Geronome. Pull to climb, push to dive. Left, right, normal. You press the metal bar, more power. Slow down, release. So there's the foot plate. Pull back and increase the power. We already give it too much power. Pull back, decrease the power. I think we should pull back and decrease the power, actually. Oh my god. Is there more sections where we die than we live in this book? You pull the lever back as far as it will go in an attempt to bring the craft out of its dive, but now you lack power and the machine continues to gain downward momentum. You're too close to the ground to save yourself and the Etetron crashes, killing you instantly. Alright. Pull back more power, which is really not a good idea when you use too much power. Just put more power in it. Though dangerously close to the ground, the craft glides smoothly out of its dive as you pull back on the lever. Your heart is pounding and still shaken. You ease back the foot bar once the Etetron is level once again. You're perhaps less than 20 feet above the ground, and you notice that the Geronome is piping even more loudly now that you are flying so low. In the distance looms the shadow of the Crystal Tower, surrounded by black holes, the result of the academicians' mining of the raw material of the Neverness. How are you to reach the realm of the Singing City? Should you fly into the ground as the Geronome suggests? Or through one of the black holes of the Cloud Plane? Sure, flying into the ground sounds like such a good idea. I don't see why we have this option, really. I guess we have to go through a black hole. Skillfully, you maneuver the Etetron and align it with the nearest black hole. Taking a deep breath, your heart beating with anticipation, you plunge into the darkness of the unknown. First there is silence, then fear. You fight back a rising wave of panic in the absolute blackness, absolute silence, absolute stillness. You cannot return the way you came. We can cast a light with our wizard staff. can chant the shanty prayer of mind discipline to beat back the rising wave of madness. Or take out the Geronome. Well, the Geronome will tell us where to go, right? You take out the Geronome. To your surprise, it is still emitting its familiar high-pitched note. You are further confused when you discover that the device continues to sound at the same volume wherever you point it. You depress the footbar. The mist within the glass dome begins to swirl and its ghostly light grows brighter, but there is no sensation of movement. Even with the bar pressed all the way down to the floor, you fear that you are stranded, becalmed upon an alien sea. A thread-like line of white light in the distance gives you fresh hope. Your flesh begins to tingle, an unpleasant sensation that seems to be drawing the strength from your body. Lose 2 endurance points. The horizon of white light thickens until it splits the darkness in two and yawns like an infernal chasm. Terrified, you hurtle towards a momentous shaft at an incredible speed. The options: slower pace or continue at the same speed. Let's go all in. All in. Make no sense anyway. Suddenly, within the space of her heartbeat, the white light horizon appears to turn inside out, its near and far sides interchanging. Then, with a lurch, you are hurled into a bright shaft and catapulted into a clear, sunlit sky. Wind rushes at your face, and the land far below is as green and fresh as that in your own world. Buffeted by the wind, you struggle to control the Etatron as it rocks and reels wildly in the wind-turned sky. Still dazed by the experiences of the past few minutes, you cannot help but manipulate the control clumsily. Pick a random number on the random number table. If you have the talisman of the shanty, add 2. There we go, another fate into the hands of Hazard. 4 plus 2, 6, so we're fine. As you regain control of the flying machine, you begin to slow down. You make a rather bumpy landing in a field, but both you and your craft survive it unharmed. You take out the Geronome, and its shrill call confirms that you are now in the realm of the Singing City. Away to your left, and in the distance, the city glints beneath the warm sunlight. Suddenly, you notice several figures heading in your direction, though they are still far off. Can hide ourselves in the Etatron, or wait where we are. I don't know how we can hide the old flying machine. I'm sure that the supposed bad guys are good guys anyway. That seems to be the point in this adventure so far. So we should simply stay there. Tense with anticipation, you wait as the figures draw near. Each wears a short white toga. They have blonde hair and strange circular ears. As soon as they arrive, they begin speaking to you in a language you cannot understand. Their voices are soft and flute-like, and there's a lilting quality to their speech. These are Ellison, inhabitants of the Singing City. Excitedly, they chatter on, pointing at both the Etatron and the sky. You soon realize that they wish you to go to the Singing City with them. Sure, why not? With smiling faces and much laughter, the Ellison lead you to their home. As you draw closer to the Singing City, you gaze in wonder upon the dazzling display of glass and fragmented light that gleams beneath the bright sun. Rainbows of color splash from the delicate spires and splendid ivory towers that point towards the sky. Like the distant ringing of a million tiny bells, the music of the city reaches your ears. You hear the warm resonance of a shifting bass, accompanied by pure whispering harmonies as delicate as a breeze, and you are awe-struck by the magnificence of the city. The academicians told you that the Ellison are cruel creatures, but their city suggests a purity of spirit beyond any mortal imagining. Pass through the arched gateway of the city, and walk along a long avenue of crystal paving stone. You are now the center of attention. Your clothes and appearance distinguish you considerably from the Ellison, and soon a great crowd surrounds you. Their faces are warm and welcoming, and you sense no danger. The press of the crowd carries you down the long avenue, and ahead you see a huge palace, more beautiful than the other buildings. You head towards it, the Ellison laughing and singing around you. Eventually, you reach the bottom of a massive glass stairway that leads into the palace itself. Before the entrance at the top of the staircase stands an imposing figure draped in white and golden robes. You climb the steps, leaving the Ellison at the bottom. The man greets you. He has long golden hair and sparkling blue eyes and holds a jeweled crozier in his hand. He is the leader of the Ellison. With a welcoming gesture, the man ushers you into the palace. Any plan for the secret theft of the Treno gem is shattered, and you decide to allow events to run their natural course in the hope that an opportunity will soon present itself. With diplomacy in mind, you bow and follow the golden-haired man into the magnificent palace. The man leads you into a vast hall. Its incredibly high ceiling is supported by hundreds of transparent columns that contain a many-colored liquid. At the far end of the hall is a pillar of swirling light that illuminates a grotesque but lifelike statue of a child. "Welcome," says a voice in your head, "to the palace of the Screaming God." Instinctively, you spin around to look at the man with the golden hair. He is a telepath, and since the language of the mind is universal, you are able to understand everything he says. "I am the guardian of the Treno gem," he informs you. "And you are a great star. Pray tell me, why have you come to the realm of the Ellison?" Three options: we can attack the guardian of the Treno gem, we can snatch the Treno gem from the statue's mouth and break out of the palace of the Screaming God, or tell the guardian our true purpose. Which is the better idea here, I think. Explain your quest in detail. Tell of the academicians who hold Tanith in the Crystal Tower, and of your need to give them the Treno gem. Patiently, the Guardian listens to your story without interruption, nodding occasionally. When you have finished, the Guardian tells you the true nature of the Treno gem, and of the strange statue in which it rests. This was once the realm of the demon Stephamon, master of sound. We, the Ellison, were created as slave singers, a choir of the damned, and long did we labor in his service. His was the music of dissonance, designed to drive his victims insane or to lure them with its enticements. Stephamon would sow seeds of discord and clamor in the realms of mortals, so that they will join him and then be doomed to lives of misery under his dominion. But we, the Ellison, conceive of a plan to overthrow him, for we desire the beauty of music, harmony, and the melody of accord. We created the Treno gem, a tool of silence, for without silence there can be no true music. While he slumbered, we dropped the Treno gem into his open mouth and silenced him. Robbed of his power, the power of his mighty voice, he froze as you see him now. He gestures towards the statue beneath the swirling pillar of light. We built this place to contain him and called it the Palace of the Screaming God. Each day we sing our song, giving force to the Treno gem, so that the Screaming God should remain forever silent. All our power is dedicated to this single act, for his was a great evil. If the Treno gem is removed, the Screaming God will be released. Those who have sent you upon this quest know not of this, or else they do not care. Perhaps they desire to free the Screaming God, or wish your death. However, there is a way for you to fulfill your bargain and do us a great service too. Yet another bargain? What is it you wish me to do? Ask. Take the statue with you, the Guardian replies. Take it in your flying machine and remove it from this realm. Give the statue with the Trenogem inside it to the academicians. Let them guard it as we have done. It will be just. We can agree to the Guardian request or simply attack him and steal the Trenogem. So, who do we trust here? The singing good guy or the puny little stupid man? Since Greystar seems to be that kind of guy since the beginning, trusts everyone, helps everyone, and is in deep shit all the time, she'll trust everyone again and do as we're told. The delighted cheers of the Ellison. The statue of the screaming god is carried from the palace and away from the singing city. It is taken to the grove of trees where your flying machine is hidden and loaded aboard. Many thanks, Grey Star, says the Guardian. Today you give us our freedom. Is there some way we can repay you? I seek the moonstone of the Chianti. Say, long ago they hid it somewhere on the plain of the Daziarn, or name for the realms gathered here. Can you tell me exactly where it is hidden? The LSC shakes his head. I have never heard of such a thing, but there is one who surely might. In the realm of Paradox lives one called Oznamun, he of the mighty End. He is wise and knowledgeable, perhaps he will know. How may I find this realm of Paradox? My only guide is this. You show the Guardian the Gironome, and it can only guide me between here and the Neverness. Give this thing to me, he says. He closes his eyes, places the Gironome close to his mouth, and begins to sing into it very softly. Now the Gironome will guide you, he says, though you may never return to the singing city. I have changed the power of the device so that it will seek the realm of Paradox instead of our own. It will still return you to the place you call the Neverness while it is silent. I thank you, you say, boarding the Etetron. Farewell. The chorus of joyful singing and the blessing of the Ellison, you carefully rise into the air with your perilous cargo. Once more you feel a strange tingling sensation as you leave the realm of the Ellison forever. You are back in the Neverness. The bleak sunless sky and the unending plain of grey clouds stretches away from you. Soon you sight the familiar shape of the Crystal's Tower and lend the craft close to its door. Spittle Drift! Shout, I have returned. Come, take your prize. A window in the tower opens and the face of Spittle Drift appears. He is ashen grey and trembling with fear. Go away, he calls. We've nothing else to give you. The girl, she was not ours to give in the first place. It is I, Grey Star, you shout. Open up. I have brought the Trenogem as I promised. The little man stares down at you, shocked and afraid. But, stammers, you have only just left. You were changed so full of darkness and 'tis not possible. Let me in, you demand, or it will be the worse for you. The window slams shut, and after a short wait, Spittle Drift throws open the door. Is it really you? He asks, incredulous. What has happened? You demand, growing angry. Where is Tanith? Return her to me. She's gone. You, or shall I say someone like you, was here but a short while ago. We could not understand the change in you. You had so much more power. We were afraid. We gave up the girl, even though the Trenogem had not been brought back to us. After more questioning, you are able to piece together what happened while you were in the realm of the Singing City. It seems that someone who looked exactly like you, clad in a black robe, came to the Crystal Tower. He had an evil countenance and was able to master the academicians easily. They gave up Tanith to the Black Wizard and he left. He had been asking questions about the realm of Paradox, and one named Oznamun, the man with the mighty hand. It appears that he was on his way here. The academicians say that he had no craft, but was able to travel the realms at will. If your Geronome has been blessed by the guardians of the Screaming God, it's the case. Hurriedly, you drag the statue of the Screaming God from the Etatron and reboard the craft. You pull air into the air, gaining height with all the speed you can muster. A tingling sensation tells you that you are about to leave the Neverness. You glance back at the Crystal Tower. A chilling scream reaches your ears. It grows louder and louder, and the tower begins to crumble. Suddenly, you realize that you did not warn the academicians of the peril of the Screaming God. One of them must have taken the Treno gem from the statue and freed the demon. There is now nothing you can do to help as you pass into the realm of Paradox. Good job, Grey Star. A sky blue sea with foam-crested waves rolls where the sky should be. Green hills and fields ripple and undulate like an ebb tide, and the Etatron begins to rock violently. Mountains stand on their peaks, and towns and cities float haphazardly in the air. Night becomes day, and day becomes night in the blink of an eye. A huge fist rears up, poised to strike, and it passes through you like a phantom. All around you is the sound of crazed and forlorn laughter. If you have the magical power of enchantment, we do. You are already well versed in the ways of illusions and enchantments, and although all the strange, chaotic sights are enough to drive a man insane, you are able to challenge the illusion and dispel it. What? Booms a voice from above. Who dares to challenge the design of the Chaos Master? Speak, petty mortal. They were but illusions, Chaos Master. I said the truth, beyond them, you reply. Truth is but illusion. Reality is but a mortal dream. What do you seek, dreamer? I'm looking for a girl. Her name is Tanith. Know this, mortal. You are in the realm of Paradox. My realm. It is a world of possibilities and contradictions. None may find what they seek unless they pay the price. What price? You ask. My price. Will you pay it? I guess we don't have any other choice than say yes, since we're Grey Star the Wizard, the yes man, and 3 books. Immediately you're standing in the court of the Chaos Master. The eye walls ripple with light as the strange architecture of the Master's Hall changes constantly. In the center of the hall, upon an obsidian throne, is seated the Chaos Master himself, ruler of the realm of the Paradox. He makes a disturbing sight. A giant over 30 feet in height, his facial features and characteristics are in a state of constant flux, continually melting into new and hideous guises. You glimpse dark and loathsome creatures, beasts and beings of indescribable horror, riding within this awesome god. Welcome to the Master's Court, he bellows. Allow me to introduce my guest. Slowly a dark-robed figure walks into the hall. He wears a hood and carries a black staff. Following immediately behind is Tanith. She gives you a brave smile. May I present the wizard, Grey Star. A deep dread stirs in your heart. Suddenly the robed figure pulls back his hood to reveal your own face staring at you. Welcome, brother, says your twin. I have long looked forward to this meeting. The Chaos Master's braying laughter fills the hall as he watches the stunned expression on your face. Are you not amused? He roars. You study your identical twin opposite and sense an aura of evil. It is a creation of Shazarak, sent to thwart your final bid to claim the Moonstone. In the Shanti language, such a creature is known as a Jaksa, the spiritual apparition of one already living, a perversion of nature and a being of great evil. Without the human emotions of guilt, remorse, and sorrow, a Jaksha has no conscience or morals and is a passionless killer. And now, intones the Chaos Master, when the echo of his laughter has finally subsided, tell me what it is you seek. Carefully you weigh in your mind what you shall ask. If you possess a cloak map of the Moaning Mountain, we do not. If you do not possess this spatial item, but still wish to ask for Tanith's return and inquire how you may reach the realm of the Moonstone, it's the only option anyway. The Master explains the route you must take towards a place called the Moaning Mountain. He goes on to reveal that in the side of the Moaning Mountain is a cavern, and at the end of the cavern there is a gate out of the realm that leads to a place called the Vale of Peace. The people of the Vale are wise and friendly, and will show you how to reach the realm of the Moonstone. He then returns Tanith to you, but your joy is subdued when the Master demands his terms. You may only leave the realm if the Jaksha accompanies you. The Chaos Master has placed you in an impossible situation, as was his intention. You are being forced to take your enemy with you on your quest, the success of which he seeks to prevent. You and Tanith walk back to the Etetron, the Jaksha close behind. With a smirk, he, too, squeezes into the little craft. As you rise into the air and steer towards the Moaning Mountain, you rack your brains for a way of ridding yourself of your enemy, standing at the far end of the craft and grinning maliciously at you. There is little you can do, for your attention is devoted to operating the controls that keep the Etetron in flight. Your nerves are constantly on edge. The Jaksha is in an ideal position to bring the craft down in the riding sea below, and you are plagued by the thought that the Jaksha can predict your every move. A large bank of storm clouds ahead spells trouble. The Jaksha has been silent for a long time, and you wonder if he has summoned an elemental storm against you. If you have the magical power of prophecy, we don't. If you have the magical power of elementalism and wish to use it, or we can attack the Jaksha, or we can do nothing. We have elementalism, and it has served us well in the previous books. Immediately ahead, the bank of rolling cloud is fast transforming into a violent storm. Quickly it surrounds the Etetron. The Jaksha has summoned against you the elementals that have served you so well in the past. You close your eyes and call out in the sibilant tongue of the elemental spirits. Within the depth of your trance, 4 figures stand before you representing the principal elements of earth, air, fire, and water. I think we should ask the help of air, since we're in the air. Kind of logical. You can feel the presence of the air elementals that the Jaksha has already summoned as they twist and coil around you. You must choose between summoning more winds to blow against the magical storm or trying to master those that surround you. I think we can master them maybe with the enchantment magic. At the cost of 1 willpower, you try to wrest control of the winds from the Jaksha. Rigidly he stands at the far end of the craft, testing his power against yours. The storm holds and the little craft shakes and swerves wildly. The ferocious winds carry the ship along, but the Jaksha still exerts control over the storm. You can expend another willpower point, cease our struggle, or simply attack the Jaksha. Should just put more power in that. You use another willpower point, but this time you feel the balance of power shift in your favor. Before your enemy is able to pour extra force into his counterspell, you order the wind spirits away. At the abrupt change in the force of the wind, the Etatron lurches violently. And as you struggle with the controls, the Jaksha staggers backwards. Tanith seizes her chance, and rushing furiously, she runs headlong into the Jaksha and heaves him over the rails. You both give a triumphant shout of joy, and you quickly bring the Etatron under control. As you draw closer to the moaning mountain, you soon locate the cavern in its side, and with some skillful maneuvering, you line up the ship with the yawning cavern mouth. You steer the Etatron along a dark tunnel in the mountain just wide enough to accommodate the craft. An eerie moaning wind passes along the tunnel, and you remember why the moaning mountain is so called. You see light at the end of the tunnel, and as you approach a shimmering curtain of water, this is the gateway to the Vale of Peace. You pass through the gate, past the shimmering waterfall, and into the foothills of a mountain range towards a lush green valley. You land the Etatron, and you and Tanith disembark. Everywhere is a growing verdant splendor. The air is fresh and invigorating, and you suddenly realize that you have not eaten since you crossed the Shadow Gate. You mention this to Tanith, and she nods in agreement, pointing to the berries of a nearby bush. Perhaps more familiar natural laws apply in this realm. You eat your fill of the delicious berries, restore 2 endurance points due to their great nutritional value. If you have the magical power of alchemy, we do. Your trained eye picks out an extremely rare and useful plant that is growing on the hillside, the Senara, a flowering bush whose unripe buds have a restorative effect. Chewing one of these large yellow buds will restore 1 willpower point. You may pick up to 5 of these buds. If you have a pistol and mortar, you may mix a preparation. It will restore 5 willpower points with 1 dose, but you will need a vial in which to keep the potions. You may mix as many potions as you have vials. We don't have anything like that. I wonder if we should just simply eat the buds there. We're a bit low on willpower, or let's wait till we really need them, I guess. Just in case that the willpower is reset at some point, or some kind of cheap trick like that. There we go. Tanith points nearby to a clump of lumspur, a healing herb. Chew on a clump of the fresh lumspur to restore 4 endurance points. So we're back to full endurance points. When evening comes, you are still high on the sides of the valley. Far below you can see a settlement, but rather than stumble in the dark, you decide to stay where you are and sleep in the warm, dry air. The night passes without incident. You feel refreshed and revitalized by your rest, and you may restore 2 endurance points and 1 willpower point. As you move on to the low ground, a vague feeling of disquiet stirs inside you. It is a familiar feeling. We don't have prophecy, so we have no other options than continue. You come to a main road that crosses your path into the valley. It leads into a village, which you can see in the distance, hugging a small wood of squat trees. Strangely, there is a lot of smoke rising from the village. As you draw closer to the village, you realize it is on fire. The occupants are running backwards and forwards with buckets of water, but they are fighting a losing battle. You can help the villagers or simply move on in search of another village. I don't see why we shouldn't help them. You and Tanit run into the burning village. The effect is dramatic. He is back! You hear someone scream. They cower before you, their eyes bright with fear. I mean you no harm. I want to help. You cry, but all remain silent, regarding you with horrified stares. How can I help? You shout. A rock thuds at your feet by way of reply. You cannot see who threw it. You have the magical power of elementalism and wish to use it to help the villager of the Vale. Let's go. Let's repair all that our double did after we pushed it down the craft. You close your eyes and begin to chant. The Vale villagers flinch visibly, convinced that you mean to hurt them. You carry on regardless at the cost of 1 willpower point. You cause it to rain. The fire is raging quite heavily, and you are doubtful that the shower you have raised is of sufficient intensity to quench the fire. You prepare to throw another willpower point into the spell, but stop suddenly as the villagers give a great gasp. A cold evil throbs at your back. You spin around to face the Jaksha. Why do you waste your energies so? The Jaksha inquires. On these simpletons and peasants. And why have you shown yourself? You ask. These people now know that I did not burn their village. Surely you hope that they will cast me out without telling me where the gate to the next realm can be found? Your unimpressive display of weather working as sophist snorts derisively. You have saved the people and all live happily ever after. He sneers sarcastically. But other dangers await you. So saying, the Jaksha disappears. The people of the Vale emit a great cheer. Fires throughout the village are already beginning to dwindle without the Jaksha there to stoke them afresh. The village elders ask if you would like to stay with them as honored guests at a great feast. Sure. You spend another day and night with these happy simple people. The beauty of the vibrant valley is a welcome relief from the hardships of your quest, however worthy the cause. The time spent with the people of the Vale has a beneficial effect, restoring 4 endurance points, but we're full, and 2 willpower points. And it radiates a happy and gaiety as you have seldom seen before. You ask about the gate that leads to the realm of the Moonstone, and the elders tell you of the Silver Lake. That night, you and Tanit are led up into the mountains to a large lake. They tell you to board the Etetron and fly above the beautiful lake. And when the moon has climbed to its highest point in the sky, you must fly into the water, for the lake is the gateway to the realm of the Moonstone, and the light and power of the moon is key. You do as they instruct, and with a wave you dive towards the Silver Lake. But as you break the surface, it is not water that washes over you, but awe and wonder. You are soaring through a starlit sky, myriad tiny pinpoints of light shining above. Then it clutches your arm and points below at a swirling gaseous incandescence, lit by sporadic bursts of violet lightning. Suddenly a huge webbed claw, as tall as a house with green shining skin, rises out of the mist. Add together your combat skill and current willpower point. If the total is 15 or more, or 15 or less. So combat skill 10, willpower 25, 35, so it's 15 or more. The webbed claw rakes the side of the Etetron, but your swift reflexes save you from certain death. As the monstrous limb sinks back into the mist, and it points to a crack that has appeared in the glass dome that contains the power which drives the craft. The Etetron starts to lose 8, sinking slowly into the swirling mystery below. Suddenly there is a hideous roar, and 7 eyeless heads on long, slender necks wave before you like monstrous flowers in a breeze. 20 feet tall, with teeth like razors, they sway this way and that, blindly seeking you out. A giant head sways barely a few feet away, and a yawning mouth bears down on you. We can attack the creature with our staff or maneuver between them. Should maneuver between them and keep our willpower. There's still, I think, the Jacksha to fight off later on down the road. The greyish mist in the Etatron's glass dome is slowly seeping through the crack in the glass. The creatures of the mist writhe and jeer in their hunger, and you struggle desperately with the controls as the ship sinks lower and lower, becoming an easier target for the hideous beasts. You swerve amongst them like a tiny insect flying through a forest of swaying trees. Add together your combat skill and willpower point. It's still 35, the total is 16 or more. The Etatron rocks and lurches as you try to steer her in tight curves and turns to evade the looming creatures of the mist. It is hard to control, and the cracked glass dome of the craft glows feebly. Miraculously, you pass beyond the monsters. You look back to see them disappearing into the mist, and you realize that they are more like plants. Fixed and rooted, but they are able to attack anything within range. Anxiously, you search around, but there is no indication that this realm contains any peculiar features. Then a strange symmetrical shape, quite unlike a star, catches your eye. You steer the crippled Etatron towards the object, and when you are close enough to recognize it, you give a gasp of joy. It is a Trianon, a creation of the Chianti. Instinctively, you know that this must be the place where the moonstone is hidden. Suddenly, a fearsome shriek distracts your attention from the ancient Chianti tomb. The starlit sky is now full of terrible creatures. At first, they are distant specks, but they are moving towards you at high speed, and soon you are able to distinguish details. You give an involuntarily gasp. The creatures have oily purple-black skins with stickily matted feathers. Their eyes protrude like two swollen bruises from the sides of their heads, and their cry is hoarse like the ringing of a cracked bell. The Etatron moves sluggishly as the very last of the grey mist seeps from its dome. You turn the ship towards the Trianon, but the malformed birds, if birds they are gaining on you. We can attack one of the Chaos Birds at long range with our Wizard Staff, or wait for the Chaos Birds to draw nearer, or use the power of Elementalism. Elementalism has served us very well in the past, so I think it will be a good pick there. You close your eyes and send out the power of your thought to the elemental plane. A raging wind blows around you, whipping the birds into confusion, so that they are unable to attack. Unfortunately, you are now unable to manipulate the damaged craft and find yourself affected as badly as the Chaos Birds. Sure. Good job, Grey Star. Do the spell all over the place, not only on the enemies. A sudden gust sends you hurtling into the side of the Trianon, and the sound of a collision fills your ear. Pick a random number of the random number table, add this number you have picked to your current willpower score. It's useless to throw that if the title is 9, the total is 9 or more. We have 25. So, the force of the impact sends you tumbling through the air. Then a hand grips yours, and it has caught you. She has a firm grip on the Trianon and soon pulls you up. "How do we get inside?" she asks. You reach out towards a shanty room carved deep into the wall. A door appears and opens slowly. You enter the Trianon and prepare to fulfill your quest. You are standing at the start of a long corridor. There are more than 100 doorways leading from this passage. You can explore the corridor or not. Sure, just let's stay there. It sounds like a good choice. You enter a door. To your surprise, you and Tanit find yourselves standing in a circular chamber filled with a milky white light. Your heart lifts when you recognize that the source of the light is the moonstone itself. So you found it at last, says a voice behind you. It is the Jaksha. I will take what is mine, he says. He reaches out to take the moonstone, a greedy gleam in his eyes. You have seconds in which to act. You can attack the Jaksha, or simply stand there. It's crazy, but I feel like we should simply stand there and do nothing. It's not the first time that we had the opportunity to attack the Jaksha, and the only one time that we did, it was actually Tanith and not ourselves. The Jaksha snatches the moonstone, and with a triumphant yell, turns to face you, brandishing his staff menacingly. Prepare to die, wizardling, says the Jaksha viciously. You raise your staff, ready to fight for possession of the moonstone. Suddenly, Tanith stays your hand, begging you not to fight. Something terrible will happen if you fight this creature, she says imploringly. Greystar, I sense it. You can refuse to fight the Jaksha as Tanith suggests, or fight it. I think we shall refuse. Triumphantly, the Jaksha deals a killing blow. You feel a searing pain tear through your body, but miraculously you are not slain. The moonstone, instrument of judgment and truth, has made the reality of Shazarak's mockery of you. In killing you, the Jaksha has killed itself. With a howl, the Jaksha dissolves into black shadows and returns to the spirit realm from whence it came. With a thrill of anticipation, you take up the moonstone. It flares, as if in recognition, at the touch of your hand. It glows with a warm, familiar feeling as it nestles in the palm of your hand. Tanith's eyes are wild and shining with triumph. You have fulfilled your pledge and completed the quest. Almost. Armed with the might of the moonstone, you now possess the only known power that could throw down the evil Witch King Shazarak. But that is another story, and the day is yet to come. The final conflict in your fight against the Shadikin Empire is concluded in Book 4 of the Greystar Saga, entitled War of the Wizard. Next week, same channel, same time.